Welcome to episode 3. I'm super excited today because at long last, we're finally going to get to talk about the time unit box system. In 2001, I was an aimless undergrad at UCLA, sitting in a world music theory class, wondering why I even had to be in one. I'd already gotten a 5 on the AP music theory exam, but the day that Tubbs was introduced, I was stunned. It has since become the primary way that I think and teach about musical time. Now, because of YouTube, we can watch people break down songs note for note. We can pause and rewind and play back in slow motion HD. And yet, despite this amazing advancement, one thing has lagged behind: a good alternative to tab and standard notation for the music student of today. The former is reductive, stripping melodies and chords of their diatonic context in exchange for a superficial play-by-numbers experience, and it's crippled by its lack of detail about rhythm. Whereas standard notation, which might be the polar opposite of reductive, comes with other hang-ups that make it a clumsy tool as it relates to the most important questions about rhythm today. When do musical events occur? And how do they relate to each other? And the overall structure of the song. When sheet music is available for the song that we want to learn, which isn't always a guarantee, it certainly provides answers to those questions, but in a format that so many of us struggle to decode. I would know because I'm one of them. So when I discovered Tubbs, everything changed. Developed first by musicologist Philip Harland and later furthered by James Ketting from 1962 to 1970 in his field work in West Africa, the time unit box system found its first major application when Ketting was dealing with how to best transcribe the polyrhythms of a drumming ensemble in Ghana. He wanted to write about performances with multiple drummers playing distinct yet interwoven patterns. He saw that using standard notation would come with some familiar trappings. It would over-assign significance and complexity in some places, and lead readers to dismiss and oversimplify in other places. When he considered that the musicians were performing with the same underlying rhythmic pulse, or the smallest increment of time between two musical events, the concept of the time unit that Philip Harland had already been developing at UCLA was the thing that tied it all together. The main thing for the reader, he understood, was not about decoding time signatures or note durations or rests, nor when the piece was supposed to even start or finish. What he thought mattered most in transcription was showing the fundamental ways in which their rhythms interlocked, when they fell together and when they drifted apart. This resulted in a striking yet unassuming visual representation of what was so great about the entire performance. In doing so, more basic questions snapped into focus. Is there more, less, or an equal amount of time between this musical event and the next? Tubbs has 4 main advantages to standard notation. Number 1, it's intuitive. Tubbs prioritizes when musical events occur and how they relate to each other and the song's structure over how long each musical event is. When it happens, there's a mark. When nothing happens, there's no mark. Relationships are visually consistent, and musicians can jump right in and start using it. Number 2, it's fast. No practicing of writing odd symbols required. My quarter rests are ugly, you don't want to see them. We use dots, and that's pretty much it for getting started. Number 3, it's communicable. That's a mouthful. Tubbs transmits over text, just like tabs, but better, because rhythm. Tubbs transcriptions translate naturally into hardware sequencer interfaces and digital audio workstation drum racks, which are all designed on top of Tubbs anyway. Tubbs also makes sense to classically trained and self-taught musicians and songwriters alike. And number 4, it's modular. Tubbs can be customized to fit your needs. Where Ketting began with venturing into different kinds of markings for different kinds of sounds, I decided to keep going with that thought by transcribing melody and harmony as well as rhythm in the same boxes, and found that Tubbs' strength is its openness to innovation. We can go from one template that works for one song and slightly modifying it for another, to changing bigger parts of it when more unique challenges are presented. I call this upgraded version of Tubbs the WARRENMUSIC Grid. It's not only the basis for the format I use for my chord charts for students or my note-for-note transcriptions for clients, but it's how I teach myself all of the new Radiohead songs quicker than everyone else on YouTube. And then this chord shape, you'll see it just goes... Instead of spending precious time decoding a system best suited to one tradition of music, we can look at rhythm in a more universal way and open the door to conversation about rhythm across different traditions and methods of music production for a long time into the future. In episode 1 of this module, we saw that melody and harmony each have a rhythmic component already. In fact, all of the song puzzles I've created for the melody and harmony modules so far have implied it from the beginning. Wherever you see spaces between the blanks I've left for you to fill in, I've included them intentionally. They're time units. As we get comfortable transcribing rhythm, melodies and chords slide right in, and each note and chord gets a specific home. While I thought I was just picking and choosing what worked best for me, as I started to use scale degrees and chord numerals on a grid, I realized that it made sense not only because it made transcribing songs easier, but because it made the relationships in the song more apparent. With Tubbs at its core, the WARRENMUSIC Grid becomes a way to track all of what we're hearing in a song. From there, it can be shared with others, translated quickly into MIDI, or simply serve as an exercise in transcription, which is at the heart of ear training. I call it the WARRENMUSIC Grid, and I hope that as you use it, you'll gain a new tool that helps you connect better with what's going on in the music you love. And that brings our episode to a close. Join me in the next one, where we'll learn how to process the rhythms we're hearing.